Welcome to Tigs Bits. This week, we're talking a little bit about everything, including football, possibly having a bit of a therapy session. We're about a third of the way into the football season, and it's going well for some. For others, it's not going quite so well, but, that is just the name of the game. We're missing JR this week, but good news for you Justin Moore podcast fans. They are back at it. They're bringing us content, so go and check them out. Go check out the Justin Moore podcast. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow wherever you are seeing or hearing this podcast. Let's jump into it. Flossie, the one-man posse. It is so good to see you tonight. Where the hell are you coming from this time?
Oh, I'm back to the hotel, back to the hotel. Oh yeah. I'm back.
Like in Too Deep, aren't you?
That's right. Wasn't
that the name of that band?
So I'm back in Opelika, Alabama here.
Okay.
Out here at the lovely Robert Trent Jones Golf Course, staying at the Auburn Marriott and Resort. It was a nice day today. Got in this afternoon, rested up, got a nap a little bit, and then, got a little food in. Now here we are now talking. So good to see you, brother. It was a nice, pleasant afternoon to ease into a work week starting tomorrow,
Let's just jump right into this. It's football season. I've got a lot on my mind. We try to.
Frustrated, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all, So this is going to be a little bit of a therapy session for me, too. I've kind of held it in 24-hour rule. Well, we're damn near on 24 hours, and I ain't over it, okay? So those of y'all listening out there, we talk a lot about food, music, culture, UFOs, crazy stuff, have a lot of guests and stuff like that on. We've had Troy. We've talked about Troy extensively. This is not a Troy show. This is not an LSU show. This is not an Alabama show. This is none of those, but it's Tigs Bits, and kind of the moniker started with the whole LSU thing. And I look, I'm not embarrassed to be an LSU fan, but I am absolutely embarrassed at the performance that defense put out against Ole Miss yesterday. Hats off to Ole Miss. Nobody could stop anybody in that game. It's getting a little frustrating. It just seems to kind of be that's where we're at.
For entertainment value, though, it's pretty strong, right? Scoring 100 points or whatever, So
yeah, I mean, absolutely. If you weren't an LSU fan or an Ole Miss fan, you're just watching outside of the world. That was a hell of an entertaining game. It was like whoever has the ball last is possibly going to win, which it was the case. LSU had the ball, had a shot to win it. But, dude, you score 49 points on the road. You have over 600 yards of offense. You're going to win that game 9 out of 10 times. Not yesterday, though. Not yesterday, man. So I don't know what's going to happen. They're kind of stuck with the players that they've got right now. You just got to hope that they can develop if you're an LSU fan and can somehow make a run. They're not out of it. They still control their own destiny. But they get to go against the best wide receiver this coming weekend in Missouri. He leads the nation in receiving yards. So, he's just absolutely licking his chops.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing about it, though, dude, I mean, football season's such a crazy cycle, and not like diving off into Detroit. It's like, but I watched us at the first of the year go up against Kansas State, and I just really thought we were going to go into that game and play really well, and we really, really hurt ourselves. I mean, there were some things we did that were good in that game, but we hurt ourselves so much, and I began to wonder, okay, I don't think we had the defense we had last year, and then we win one, then we lose a real close one that we were winning those close ones last year, and I was like, oh, man, we don't look bad, but, man, and then this week suddenly our defense played lights out, offense got things going, and then suddenly you're like, now I'm feeling like, okay, this is the team I thought that they were going to be. But, dude, you never know still. Like, in 2 more weeks it could change back, and then you go, oh, never mind, that's who they were, or either they just continue to roll, or what they are now doesn't necessarily mean what they're going to be at the end of the year. I guess that's my point, because you just don't know, man. It's wild.
No, this is the wildest season of college football that I've ever seen at all levels. They're number one, there is no defense in college football anymore. It's not just that's not a odd one off of LSU and Ole Miss. There is zero defense in college football right now. I mean, look at USC, look at Oklahoma, look at all of these teams. Alabama gives up points. Mississippi State's terrible, and they were in the game as much as Mississippi State can be. It's just something. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the transfer portal. There's no continuity with teams that they've been together. They're veterans. They've been juniors. They've grown up together, and they just keep getting better. Whoever has that is the teams that you're going to see at the end of this season. It ain't going to be LSU. I can tell you that. They're not. They're not fixable. They're not. I hope that they can get better because their offense is as good as any in the country. They're, I think, the number 2 offense statistically. Their defense is number 117. That ain't gonna cut it. So they're gonna be in any ball game because they can score. But you got to get stops.
Can you win the track meet? Yeah, no, you do.
Yeah.
You do, especially in the SEC, and it's you got to have defense. And I'm not going to keep to pound the Troy drum, but that's the one thing right now. We have a phenomenal defense, just like we did last year.
And that's good.
And
that's going to get you somewhere.
Year, and it is, and it keeps us in every game. And if our offense can just find some sparks, you know what I mean? Like we have a chance. We just, Georgia State, dude, they were undefeated coming in there. And I was really worried about that game. I've watched them play. I was like, that is a really good football team. I mean, I'm really scared of this one. And dude, they've been averaging 37 points a game and they scored 1 touchdown. Yeah. But yeah. I feel the opposite right now, but when you get there, and I've seen it's especially in the SEC, man. That's a place you get so exposed.
Well, you get exposed. I mean, we were exposed yesterday against Ole Miss. I know what's coming. If they can't right this ship quick, this is going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly quick. I hope that they will make some changes. Internally, I need to get rid of Matt House. That's the defensive coordinator, and I've got a feeling he will be on his way out. They overachieved last year, but if you look back and you see the amount of points that they gave up in every single contest, this has been a problem. We're used to having really good defenses at LSU. That's the bread and butter. It's DBU and all that. Man, they look slow. They played 10 yards off the ball all game. They just played a lot of zone. And they never made any adjustments. It's frustrating to watch. But I can harp on that all day long, and that is not what this show is going to be about today at all. I don't want to lose everybody just talking about LSU and Troy and all that.
Brantley's a little frustrated if y'all don't realize. I don't know if y'all realize.
Oh, I am not happy about this.
Yeah.
Pissed off, dude. Pissed off. I don't like it. And I've been
I had to
address it.
I didn't even know what to say. Like, it's just, I can't, that's a tough one. I didn't send you anything. I didn't send.
Nope.
Great guy.
You didn't.
It's okay, man. I just moved on. I had to
That's what you got to do. Yeah. I flushed it pretty much as soon as it was over. I went to bed is what I did. I was like, not much longer after that. I finished that Notre Dame and Duke game. And then I was like, yeah, I'm done with football. And then today get to start off and, the Saints, here we go. Saints in Tampa Bay to control the NFC South and
bring some balance back to you. Watch the Saints do well. Like, let's get something. Yeah.
No, that didn't happen either. You know what I mean? The hell with football. Tigs is done with football. Here we are. October the 1st is when we're recording this. Tigs is done with football. At least we have playoff baseball coming up. I'm looking forward to that. Congrats to the Houston Astros for winning the West. The AL West. So, I'm focused on other things at this point. The Saints.
Until next weekend, Brantley. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Until next weekend. You're not focused on anything but football. Don't lie to yourself.
It's true. I'm not. This is what I tell myself.
We talked about the first of the season. Enjoy it. Enjoy each week. And there's going to be ebbs and there's going to be flows. And, man, hey, suddenly you could be looking down the road in 3 or 4 weeks – and and then you win this unbelievable football game, and then you go, you never know, man. You never know.
We're back. The ebbs and flows are flowing the wrong way at the moment, but hopefully hopefully things can turn around for my Tigers when they play the Missouri Tigers in Columbia. So not an easy task. I don't know. Some reason LSU comes out as a 7-point favorite. By the time y'all are listening to this, that's probably going to change. But I don't know. I don't know what the hell they're seeing that we're not. But anyhow, man. Not a fun weekend for football in the state of Louisiana. But we ain't never lost a party, Blasey.
That's true. Never, ever.
So
yeah, it's crazy, man. Wrapping that up, there's a lot of good football teams. There's a lot of good teams with some really unbelievable offenses that can do crazy stuff in any given week. I mean, look at Colorado. They're like helter-skelter. They get blown out by Oregon, and then they come in this week against USC, and, dude, almost pull that off, So
they did. They were getting smoked, and they hung in there and then just started coming back. I mean,
shows
another
he's doing
point
the
of
right
defense.
things. It wasn't like he got exposed.
Yeah.
No. It's just, dude, it's crazy.
It is. It's the most wide open I've ever seen college football. Anybody who's ranked in the top 10 or 12, if you have one loss or less, I mean, you're in this. Even a 2-loss LSU, say they were to run the table. They're not. But let's say that they were. They could get back in. It could get interesting,
Dude, and speaking where I'm sitting right now, how about Auburn almost beating Georgia?
Auburn
if it
played
for that
them
tight
tough
end until the end of the game, when I have no idea why they didn't have him double teamed or at least manned up with somebody, drop it into some zone help. But yeah, other than that, dude, Auburn played unbelievable. Took it right down to the end of the game.
They did. They played fantastic. They have nothing to hang their heads about.
That's a program you better watch. They may be getting better each week, That may be that
they
team
are
by the
getting
end of the
better
year.
each week, and they can run the football, man.
Yeah.
They can run it, and that's we get to play them too. They're coming up. It's just like, it's like shit. All of these games that look so good on paper a couple weeks ago are just starting to go, oh, Lord, we can't stop anybody. They're just going to run it down our damn throats. So,
I'm not laughing. I just get it. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, it's like, what are we going to do?
It's like Mike Tyson coming at you like, I'm about to hit you with this right. Yeah, there's not much I can do about it.
Just a little off balance. You can get it right this weekend, LSU. Get it right in Columbia, Missouri, and let's see what can happen, But, man, it's wide open. I don't see any one team in college football at this point. I mean, we're a quarter way through the season, basically. Yep. We're a third of the way through, and I don't see one team that I'm just going, oh yeah, that's the best team in the country, including Georgia. I don't think they are one of the best teams in the country, but they're not.
They just
they're not as dumb. They don't look as dumb. They're going to get beat. Somebody is going to beat them.
Yes.
And then you can go to Florida State. They almost lost to Boston College, but they look good. They look like they're legit. Michigan, if they can keep handling business, Ohio State, the usual suspects. But
imagine if this year was the year of the 12-team playoff. Imagine, like, the chaos in that playoff would be wild because any team could probably win,
Yes.
So there's where a 12-team playoff is going to be magnificent of a tournament. It's not going to be like you just got 1 and 2 sitting there. When a year like this, dude, who knows? Every game's going to matter. I can't wait for it. I think it's great, man. I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going.
I think it is too.
Through the roof.
like Coach Sumrall said, it's going to be like March Madness, but with football.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
that's insane. That's insane.
I can't wait. Like here we go on a Saturday in December. There are 8 ball games, 8 playoff games. Win and move on. Lose and go home. Like. Yeah, there won't be 8, but whatever, 6.
No, dude, it's going to be that cool. It's like I like basketball, okay, right? And I'm just be real. Like I'll watch and go into a basketball game. It's phenomenal. Like it's cool.
Yeah.
And when the tournament comes around, I get engaged, and that tournament is so cool. It's so awesome. Like the energy from it, those different rounds, and you get the Cinderella teams rolling, and all the drama that plays out. Now you combine a sport like football, which I'm highly passionate about. Then you throw in that with it. I mean, we may explode. I mean, this may be like too much to handle.
It's going to be nuts. And I don't think that the defenses in college football this year in 2023 are going to get that much better in 2024. So I think that it's the transfer portal, it's the NIL, it's the let me get the best player that there is that you think is going to work for your program kind of deal. And then you're seeing that doesn't work out every time. And it's not working out with some places. It is working out with some, but it's the moving parts all around football. There's no continuity. That is it's watering the game down some, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think it will fix itself at some point. I haven't mentioned this to you. I just thought about it. I have a good buddy of mine that I went to high school with. His name's Alan Jordan, and we played baseball together. And he was a pitcher. He's a great pitcher. And his son just committed to the Texas Longhorns. I bring this up. He's going to come on our show in the spring whenever we kind of start to talk a little bit about the national championship LSU Tiger baseball team and other things, but just wanted to plug that. But he's gonna be coming on, and he has some very interesting takes on NIL and how it's working in college baseball and the portal and just all of this wild stuff that he has been telling me about that I can't wait to visit with him. It's going to blow your mind. It's crazy what's happening. Wait for that. It's the wild, wild west in sports right now, just the whole deal. Yeah. And then some of these kids are getting COVID years and stuff like that. Oh, my
God. We got 6 and 7 year players out there. Like, there's it's like so saturated with athletes right now.
It's nuts. You've got a 27-year-old pitcher going against an 18-year-old kid who just graduated high school. What the hell do you think is going to happen? It's just some of that. Now, I think over time that will work itself out because of the COVID stuff. But anyhow, I look forward to having Alan on to talk about some of this and really kind of get an inside scoop of
love how that conversation. Yeah. Because I have my ideas and all that, but I'm still honestly just such a neophyte when it comes to fully understanding all these, where you've got these collectives and then where they have individual agreements and it's it is a complicated thing, man. So that's going to be cool, man. Because I'm very intrigued because I try to keep my ear to the ground. I'm listening, but it's still so confusing.
Yeah, it is, man. Well, it's going 1,000,000 miles an hour too. I think that's part of the confusion. And, you've got to be in that deal to understand it. I think, if you have a son or daughter that's being courted by some collegiate team to play athletics for them, it's just a whole different deal. It's not anything I understand. I've never been a part of that. So I look forward to just kind of getting that perspective.
No, that's going to be cool
from him. Yeah.
That's going to be a good one. That's going to be
a good one. It is, man. It is. And look, I know that we're going to talk and touch on several things. This is just basically a current event show we've decided to do today. It's not an emergency pod necessarily,
no, not at all. But it almost became an emergency pod. So yesterday I get a phone call out of nowhere. This is literally, get my times right. I think it was 10 after. It was 2:50. Yeah, and I know why it was 2:50 because I'll tell you in a minute. So it was 2:50. I get a phone call from a good friend of mine, Doolittle, and he said, "Hey man, I've got this trip that we go on every once in a while. This company's taking us out there, and they gave me 3 spots, and somebody dropped out, and we're going down to the Chandelier Islands off of the coast of Louisiana. This is kind of those once in a lifetime type trips. I mean, I hear stories where you get this boat. It's called Due South. I mean, this boat is phenomenal. We get on the boat. We're supposed to be on the boat today about 5:30. They take off at 10. You drive all night. You get out there. You get in flats boats and you go out there and you just destroy speckled trout and redfish. And it's just supposed to. I've seen the pictures. I was talking to a buddy of mine. It's been 4 times. He said, "Dude, we'll catch 60 a session." Between speckled trout and redfish.
I've never had that opportunity to go to those islands, but I know several people that have, and I love to fish, as you know. But dude, that is once in a lifetime trip to get to go there, and you can absolutely just hammer them, man. Just hammer them.
God, man. And so, dude, I told him, give me 30 minutes. So I knew I needed to call him back, by 3:20. And I sat there, and first I'm like, no, there's no way I can do this. I can't do this. This is impossible. I even went in and was talking to Amanda, and I'm telling her, I was like, this is like a once-in-a-lifetime type deal. Like, he's asked me like 3 years ago, and he hadn't asked me since, and here he's asking me again. I've already said no once, but I can't go. I can't. Can I? Can I? Hey, can I go? And, so it's transformed into, you know what? Sometimes you just got to say the heck with it, man. Let's just make it work. I mean, you know what? So within about 15 minutes, I'm going.
It's amazing what guided fishing trips will do, and how much you can move. God knows that I have been guilty of making some things happen that should not have happened. Oh wait, you can go. Hey, we're going out of Hackberry tomorrow morning. Oh, we are smoking the redfish. You think you can show up? Good Lord, there's no way in hell that I can do this. Give me 15 minutes. Let me just see if I can work this out. And then, very rarely do I ever say, nope, I can't do it. I figure out a way. I find a way.
It's amazing what you can frame up in your mind to make perfect sense. You know what I mean? Like, this makes perfect sense.
Of course it does.
I'm only going to miss like a meeting I had scheduled from last week. I'm only going to miss my son's baseball game. Dude, you know what? These games come around, these fishing events. They do not.
Yeah.
It was
exactly.
That was the toughest part, honestly. It was the baseball game, because I like to be at every
game. That's
the
tough part, yeah.
But it's fall ball, and that's what I structured it. I'm like, this is fall ball. This is just developmental ball. They don't even really take it. I mean, we get out there and we work. It's more like a big practice with scrimmage games. That's the way I view it. So I'm just missing a scrimmage game, right? So it's not spring ball where it all matters.
But you can justify it that way. So I understand.
I'll wrap this up. So excited, man. I'm going, and I can't sleep. It's like a kid, waking up for Christmas Eve on Christmas Eve on Christmas Day, and dude, I get up and I take off. I go down to Bay Baits. They open at 6. I'm there at like 6:20. Walking in.
Let's get this.
I'm getting some stuff. I'm talking to them. Dude, I get me another rod. I did not plan to buy another rod, but I was like, I'm going down there. I'm just going to show up, and so I spend more money on the rod than I should have. And I get them to line it. I get I'm getting all my stuff. I'm ready to go, and get back to the house. And I'm sitting around there, and I'm still also trying to take care of the house. Hey, let me do this. Let me grab this. Let me grab. I'm trying to do all I can around there, but also packing at the same time and thinking of things I need. I go get a shower, and I'm going to come out of the shower. I'm going to go pick us up some lunch. Going to come back. We're going to eat lunch, and I'm hitting the road, and I'm heading west. And I'm going to be gone for, Monday night, Tuesday night, and we don't get back till 10 p.m. on Tuesday night. I'm sorry, Sunday night and Monday night. I don't get back until 10 on Tuesday. So I'm like, and they're like, you could sleep on the boat. I'm like, I'm probably going to do that. I've been fishing all morning, fishing all afternoon. I'm probably just going to crash there and get up and drive back Wednesday morning. So anyway, I get out of the shower. I'm all ready. Dude, I'm feeling so excited. I'm trying to act like I'm not too excited, but she knows I'm excited. Yeah. She's cool about it, but I wasn't like moonwalking around the place, but I kind of was.
You got those butterflies in your stomach, though.
Oh, my God.
Pure excitement.
And I'm
feeling. I love it.
Everything I need, and I'm re-going through my list, and I'm like, I've got one more stop at Bass Pro over there near Spanish Fort, just to really tighten this thing together and get all the things exactly I need from some of the guys that's been like 4 times that told me, hey, you take these 4 things with you, I promise you it covers everything, and you're going to kill them. And I was like, I'm going to get these. And, dude, I checked my phone, and I get a text, and the captain had called them and said, because of the weather, specifically the wind was too high, he is canceling the trip. We're going to have to reschedule.
Oh, man.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, so I was planning on coming. I was going to get there in time and get on the boat, because there's Wi-Fi. I'd found out we got Wi-Fi access. Dude, I was going to do our show from the boat and maybe bring the captain in there and talk about this.
Oh, that would have been so much fun. But we can still do that whenever this trip
Yes, we can.
reconvenes. I mean, but that was
long story long, but anyway, that's the story.
No, but look, I mean, that opens up a whole can of worms. There's just nothing better than the preparation for a fishing trip and getting in there, the excitement of it, especially especially when for me it's saltwater fishing, like you were going to go do. I grew up Toledo Bend, bass fishing, doing all of that. I love doing that. Second nature.
Yeah.
And I get fired up for bass fishing, of course, but not as fired up as I get whenever I get to go catch some reds, catch some specks, catch some flounder. And I've gone out, I've caught mangrove snapper and all that stuff too. You know, I mean, it's there's just something a little bit different. You don't zero if you go out in the Gulf of Mexico or you fish in the March. Like you can zero bass fishing. You can have a day where you don't catch a damn thing, nothing, you know, except for a sunburn, and that's all you get. If you don't catch it, you're going to catch a hardhead catfish at worst.
Yeah, and
when you go
on a bad day, I mean, you're probably going to reel up a shark. I mean, how cool is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, who cares if you're eating it or not? It's all about the fight and the fun of it, dude. I have not fished as much in 2023 as I like to do. In fact, I've hardly fished any. It's been
I fished more than I fished in 20 years in 2023.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, really. I mean, you know what? 20 is probably 30 years. Like, really, I've got into that surf fishing, and that's what I've been doing a lot of. I did in the spring, and then now I'm firing it back up in the fall. And dude, it's so fun to go. I just realized I don't know why this didn't resonate with me earlier. It's like, dude, you get to go down there, you get to hang out on the beach, which I've always been like okay with, but now I'm fishing, and it's like, okay, I'm fishing, and everybody's happy. We're chilling on the beach. We can play some bocce ball. You set your pole in. You just wait. You just wait, and then next thing you know, here comes a giant pompano. Boom! You know, and then you go back to hanging out and chilling, and then you're catching fish. It's like the greatest combination. And then you get to go out there and get some sand fleas with your bucket. It's like a whole involved process. You know what I mean? So
I never understood. I don't know why. Whenever I lived there, we didn't do that more often.
I don't know why.
Especially me. I love fishing. I didn't have the equipment for it.
Me either. And I started asking, and I realized
gear.
You didn't need much. You know what I mean? It's like you don't need a whole lot. I was like, okay. I was thinking I'd see these buggies. I was like, oh my God, I'm probably
you don't have to have all of that.
No, you don't. I walk out there with everything I need, and I could still hold my beer in my hand. You know what I mean? Like I'm good. Like so I've got.
But those buggies are convenient looking with those big old.
But they're convenient until you have to.
Looks like lunar landers. Landing tires.
My old neighbor's he got one, and everything he does, he likes to have the best of, right? So he gets one. Yeah. It's a fine one, but he doesn't like it because it only has a single axle. So he orders his own axle, drills the holes, and installs a dual axle system.
Made that tandem.
Yes, he did. So he's got and it is
carry weight with that deal now. Yeah.
It's fun until the problem with South Walton. Think about every beach access, almost every one of them. You got to go down those stairs.
That's true.
That doesn't go down those stairs too well. That is. And it really doesn't go up them very well. And I realized I was going to get one too until I saw all that, and I was like, I figured out how to do this with backpack coolers and with things and put it together. And I use a simple chair that I can strap over a tiny one, small. Dude, I got my pole. I mean, I got it. Like I can walk to the beach and have everything I need, and I can have 3 poles. I can have 2 poles out there and have one for just casting if like some fish come by. So
right,
yeah. Anyway,
I'll be dang. Yeah, dude. I was at. I like to. Whenever I'm near the beach, I like to take that morning walk and watch the sunrise and just, when I was in Pensacola a few weeks ago, I did that, and man, I saw so many fish. There was no one on the beach, no one fishing in there. I didn't have a rod and reel anywhere near me, but I was just watching schools of fish. I don't know what they were. They were just going crazy, but they were big. They looked good too, and if you'd have had that rod and reel, you would have smoked something. No
just
doubt.
a little spoon on there. You just throw right in there.
Oh yeah.
Action.
Gold or silver? What do you like?
So down at the beach, I've started using. I use silver more. And I've used one. There's one I specifically get in the back of it's been kind of engraved, I guess, along the back, and so it sends off some extra. Shimmy. It almost looks like fish scale. You know what I mean? It has a fish scale silver look, and I like that guy. And dude, we tore it up probably a month or so ago. Like the kids were there, and they were throwing every time those schools of fish would come through there. Boom, we're catching big ladyfish, and at the time we were just catching all kind of crazy stuff. But Pompano are starting to bite. I caught a pompano and grilled it for dinner Friday night. And
it's nothing better than some good old fresh fish. Look, folks, if y'all are listening to this, leave us a comment on the show. If you like fishing, where do you like to fish? Do you like saltwater? Do you like fresh water? Do you want to hear us talk more about fishing? I can do multiple shows on fishing. In fact, I know some pro bass fishermen. They will be coming on the show as guests at some point, working on that. They're all in the woods right now. Like when the pro bass fishermen, when their season ends in like July, August, depending on the league that they're in, those boys get after some deer hunting. Like that's all that they do. They don't pick up another rod, reel. Some of them guide and stuff like that, but most of them go to the woods. You can't talk to them. Like they're impossible to get a hold of until at night. You know, they're out there from sunrise to sunset and not answering the phone at all, and certainly not going to do a podcast from a tree stand, though that would be fun. I don't think it would be very effective or a good use of their time, but I look forward to having more conversations about fishing. So I hope you guys out there like to fish, because we're definitely going to be jumping a little bit more into that with some guests and talk some techniques and stuff like that. While I'm mentioning it, one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to all of the time, and for some reason I didn't mention it, I don't believe, whenever we did our podcast about podcasts, kind of where Bubba found us and all. I didn't mention my favorite show that I listen to is called Bass Talk Live. It's just a bass fishing show, but they have all of the best guests and stuff like that on there, and you can listen to them on YouTube and everywhere else you listen to podcasts. But I listen to that religiously and get a lot of good information on bass fishing. There's been some controversial topics this year, especially this summer, now that we're in the off period, with live scope forward facing sonar and stuff like that. I have a lot of questions. I have opinions about it as well. I don't think it's great for the sport personally, but I understand that these companies have to sell a product and they sponsor these folks, and also they're kind of bass fishing is in an interesting place at the moment. Who do you cater to? Do you cater to the anglers? Do you cater to these technology companies, these tech and all of that? So I don't know, a lot to talk about in bass fishing. So not going to go on a tangent there.
You know, I'll tell you this with bass fishing, like I watched a tournament, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. And dude, I was watching the way they were like doing that tournament. Like I felt like I grew up bass fishing, like I was playing the first Nintendo, and they were playing on a PlayStation 5, and it was like, and it's also the same frustration where I go, I mean, I know I can still catch fish, you know what I mean? But like, man, they're just operating on a whole different operating system now on how they fish and how they go after them. It's crazy.
They are. The common guy can't go out there and do what they are doing.
Because they're going to kick your butt, dude. They're way too many.
Oh, they're going to smoke you. Yeah, they have the technology and they know how to use it. Now, I mean, you can't just have that, put it on a boat and go out there and do it. You have to understand what you're looking at, what you're doing.
Like
and
an
all that. That's
gamer,
what they
man.
do.
They're like expert.
That's exactly what
fishermen.
It is.
They are.
And that's what they call it. That's what they label it, video game fishing. And that's what they're doing. People don't want to watch them just looking down, fishing and looking down at a screen. They're not throwing to a stump. They're not hitting this bend of a creek because it does this and does that. They're literally just looking
video
and
game
finding
fishing.
the fish and then catching them.
That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, it is. I'd like to see them have some kind of a mix at some point where that isn't allowed in some tournaments, like the Bassmaster Classic.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl of bass fishing, no forward-facing sonar. No one can use it. It just kind of
Well, you got to limit
the
that
field
technology
back.
at some point. You got to say,
You're going to have to.
Golf's had to do it a little bit, even with the rangefinders, which I think are nice. It just speeds up play, but they start adding slope and all that. It's like, whoa, that's too much. You know what I mean? Like, you need to, I know it's 150 yards, but you need to figure out how much uphill that is or how much downhill that is. by looking at it. You know what I mean? Using a little bit of your skill set, you know, because I know that all these guys can walk it off and they're going to basically give you the same number that GPS just gave you, and it saves time. So they're all great at that. But hey, you're going to do the slope. You know what I mean? Yeah, you got to limit that stuff, you know?
Man, I tell you, speaking of golf, what a disaster for the United States of America in the Ryder Cup, huh?
Man, it was a disaster. Like, see, I didn't watch Thursday. Was it Thursday, the first round, or Friday? Yeah, Friday. I didn't watch that. But Saturday morning, I woke up and saw how far behind they were. I was just like, is this even possible? And it was just, they dug themselves the biggest hole, like, to try to come back from. Like, what was it? 10-6 was the greatest comeback in Ryder Cup history. Both by the Americans and the Europeans had done it in different years. I think I want to say somewhere like, I can't remember, like in the 90s and somewhere around 2012. But they were down 10.5 to 5.5 entering into the final day with the final pairings. Dude, you know what's crazy? They made drama of it, though, at the end. You know? But you can't get that kind of a hole and expect to come back. Like, because they had a great afternoon, but, dude, you're down.
Little too late.
Oh, my God. You got your butt kicked on the first. I mean, those Europeans came out balling. They always do, man. They always do. They play especially when they play. They do. They play the Ryder Cup well, and especially when it's in Europe.
They always, you know, and that's the fun of it. We'll see what happens here in a couple years when it swings back. I mean, there are some. I've seen some tweets or X's, whatever you want to call them. There are some pissed off Americans talking about keeping their receipts and they won't forget this and that. Just drama in the golf world, man. But
dude, there was a match or two there late in the game where when I think it was what's his name, Fleetwood and Tricky Ricky Fowler. At that point, like, that match was important. Everything was like, guys, if we can get over and get back in, like, Americans might can pull this off. And it would be the greatest comeback in Ryder Cup history.
Yeah.
And then it was a par 4, and it was drivable, but that green is surrounded by water on the right side. Oh. And Ricky tees off first, and Ricky hits one, and he's trying to fade it in there a little bit. And the water's on the right side, and he overcuts her a little bit. So he's in the water. And then Fleetwood gets up there. He doesn't just hit a good shot. Dude, he hammers one. I mean, the green's reachable. This is a par 4 still. Hammers one, takes it right at it. Like, he's like, whatever. Dude, he hits it up there like 20 feet from the hole on a par 4. Oh. And then obviously, you know, Ricky, he misses the putt, but birdies, and Ricky has to knock it in. It's his third shot coming out of the water.
Right.
That ended it. You know what I mean? That ended it. It was like, wow, somebody made that move. Like, if Ricky had hit that shot, like, that would have probably propelled them. And then, you know, Spieth's still on the course. Like, they would have got this information, and, like, dude, it could have happened. It could have
ignited it.
It was very close because they had just won a few matches and won a few holes. There were like 4 or 5 holes in a row with different players that had just all gone for the United States. And it was like, you could feel the crowd was shifting, and it was like
they were starting to get a little nervous.
They were getting very nervous, and then they, you know, prevailed. So there was some drama at the end. There was some late drama to be that far behind.
A fan who looked like Colonel Sanders took off across the green and jumped in the water. That was fun.
That was great. That was what's funny is I saw it and they showed him, and I was walking through the den, and then they were showing them. I was like, wait, what did I just see? And I had to rewind it. I was like, I just saw an old man run across the golf course.
And they tried to chase
him for a minute. They tried to chase him, and they let him go.
He's not trying to hurt anybody. He's just
jumping
in
the water, man.
I mean, imagine. It was awesome. That was a highlight for me. I mean, those Europeans, man, we take it serious, and it seems to be a little more niche in America. There are golf fans, and the golf fans are like baseball fans. They're purists. Yeah. They are like that. I have several. A guy, David Ware, who's contributed to the show multiple times, huge golf fan. I'd love to have his take on this Ryder Cup. But man,
it's the Ryder Cup, and you know, and college
a lot of
football
emotion
took over it. like I forgot it was even happening. Like again, it was Saturday morning. I woke up at like 4:00 in the morning, and thank God because they were in the middle of that match, and I was watching. And I was like, oh wow, but I did get to watch it. I watched it then, and I watched it this morning. That finish was cool, but they just got outplayed, man. Like it's just that simple. Max Homa though for the United States, that dude balled out, man. He was the MVP of the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, he kept that thing rolling. Like, hey, look at me, guys. I'm winning. Just do what I'm doing. Y'all can win too. You know what I mean? And so he inspired some people, even though they got so far down. They never quit. They showed a lot of grit. So I actually give them a lot of props. They got into a bad spot and tried to battle back. And almost did.
They battled.
Almost did. Yes,
we
they
give
battled.
them that. They
never
battle.
quit. There was no quitting that team.
That mullet from Sam Burns with the USA in it, though. I mean, he's an LSU guy. He's a, I know folks who know. Yeah, he is. Yeah, and
I like Sam Burns.
But
yeah,
I love Sam Burns. He's fantastic, but not a good look.
He got pumped up one time. I think somebody in the crowd said something to him. I think it was yesterday, and he had a putt. I don't know what they said, but dude, he made that putt, and dude, he went and this is kind of out of character for him. He went kind of nuts. I don't know if you've seen the footage.
I have not.
Oh, he was just like, what did he say? He looked at him like super intense, and he was like, "What do you want to say now? What do you want to say now?" I mean, he was like,
I love it.
And I'm pretty sure he dropped an F-bomb in there, and they kind of reworked. I mean, he was fired up, and he was like, let's go. I mean, dude, I was like, whoa, he's getting after those Europeans.
Dude, those Europeans, they talk some serious shit to those golfers. I mean,
they got to him, whatever they said. But he made the putt, and then he rammed it back down. I thought it was great. I think it's cool when people get like that. It's like Colin Montgomery used to come over here, and they'd heckle him up there around New York and all, like the New Jersey area. But, dude, I think it's cool. And it
is cool. It's fun. It adds another dynamic.
It can be too much, sport. But add some juice to this game.
There is. It definitely adds some juice to it. That's for sure. It makes it fun. But
it's like watching Boo Weekley that year in the Ryder Cup, wrapping up the Ryder Cup when he came off that tee box riding that golf club like a horse. You know what I mean?
Riding the pony.
And, he made some good, we got to find out these dogs can hunt. And then another quote, boys, these dogs can hunt. You know what I mean? Like, I just thought that's good stuff that they're not doing that in a normal tournament,
Very true. Very true. Yeah. Very true. It adds that team dynamic to it. And then you put countries behind it, and then the passion comes out. And a
lot of pride.
A lot of pride. And then look, let's wrap it up. I know that you had mentioned, and we've seen some news that has come out from Las Vegas. It kind of doesn't kind of go with what we've all talked about here, but we'd be remiss to not mention they made an arrest in the Tupac Shakur murder from 1996. Man, I mean, that's the year I graduated high school. I remember it like it was yesterday. Loved Tupac, was jamming him then, and this all of the beef, all of the rumors, all of that stuff. And then, as they say, what you do in the night will come to light.
That's it. I can't believe it took this long, though, because they've known forever who did this. It's just trying to get some proof. They've known forever.
He's said that he did it.
In 2018,
he's bragged about it.
Yeah, he got diagnosed with cancer, and for some reason in his mind, he thought that he was granted immunity because he had cancer. Like, I swear he did. And then he sits there and basically he confesses he was in the car, he was in the passenger seat on the front. His nephew Orlando and some other dude are in the back seat, and one of them two, he didn't identify which one, I think, but Orlando probably, who they were already. They were all Southside Crips. And dude, they pulled up on him and they shot him. And of course somebody shot him. Like, they died. He died. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and this is the guy that tells you exactly how they did it. And it was a white Cadillac. They were in a white Cadillac. I mean, it's like,
he was there. I
can't believe it took this long, man. How did it take this long? And the guy who actually shot him, he died in like 98 or 99. He died a year or two later. But O'Keefe D just got to run in that trap too much, man.
He did.
He thought that cancer immunity was a real thing, and it ain't.
Good Lord. But it was interesting to hear the Las Vegas police chief going over the case. Apparently, he's been on it. He looked like he was our age, basically, but I guess he was fresh on the force whenever that first happened, because he said he's been with the entire time, and the details that he laid out about how it was. I mean, hell, they made documentaries 15 years ago that told all of the same stuff. Like, it's just
crazy.
Now.
It's crazy.
It is.
But it's some justice. I'm sure, for Tupac's family and all. It's
Yeah.
great to finally get some justice in this, because that dude,
a little closure.
Because that dude was like the shot caller, and from the South Side District, and he had members from the South Side District with him. So who made that call in the gang world? Right? He did. He made that call, and they shot the gun. Like, of course, he didn't shoot, but he killed him. He had him killed. You know what I mean? He made that call. He didn't do that without him knowing. He didn't go, "What are you doing?" Like, no. Just the shot caller made the call, and the shot caller has now been arrested.
You know what's something that's interesting as you look back, and at the time, like, Tupac was a little bit older than me, not much, but a little bit older than me, and he seemed so much older at the time. When I was 18, I felt he was probably like 25 or something like that, but he might as well have been 50 as far as I was concerned. It's just like, but when you look back, man, he was just a kid trying to figure things out in life, just like I was in my 20s, and like everybody else was. And it's just sad that we lost such a talent like him. He was
over some nonsense.
Over a bunch of nonsense. There's no telling what he would have done. He would have, I don't know if his musical career, it would have always been there, kind of like an LL Cool J in a sense, or some of those who've crossed over to be actors.
Or gone more like a Dre route, like, and just
but I think he would have been I think he would have been an actor. I mean, he was fantastic.
He was
in Poetic Justice.
He was a great actor. So good, man. He was so talented, and he had this ability. Like, and I've always tried to find out, like thinking about Tupac, because I mean, his music was awesome, dude. His lyrics were so good. It was like, it was actually thoughtful stuff. If you sit there and listen to what he's saying, it's like, man, this were. Anybody can relate to this. You don't have to be just from a certain place to relate and go, I don't know what he's talking about. Everybody could relate to his music. It was so relatable. Yep. And then he was so relatable. You looked at him. He's like almost like that best friend that you had growing up. Yeah, you liked him, man.
Just immediately liked him just by looking at him.
Yeah, it's like, dude, it's like and he had his flaws. And it's like, but
sure.
Dude, but everybody knew, it's like, oh, that's a good dude. You know what I mean? Like,
he is, yeah. You wanted to be around him. He smiled. He was happy. He was just a go-lucky fella, know. But we'll wrap it up here with that. But man, I tell you, we're missing JR. I love it when we talk about music, and kind of hate it whenever we do and we don't have him, because he has such an interesting perspective.
Oh man, he would have come in about everything. So many different like slants on those. I mean, he would have come in different angles. Yeah, I totally agree. That's it. I mean, you got to go out with Tupac on. No, actually, hold on before we end. Jimmy Carter turned 99 this week, man. Yeah. And it's his birthday. And so happy birthday, Jimmy Carter. I mean, he's right there, I think, at the end of his time here on earth. It's coming up, it sounds like, listen to the family talk. But dude, I always was a fan of Jimmy Carter. I like what he did with Habitat for Humanity, and his presidency was, it was terrible or whatever, but like, man, what he did post presidency, like, I thought was great. I got to hear him. I got to go to, I think I've told you that before, to Plains, Georgia.
Yeah. And to their church. Didn't you go to a Sunday school?
Tiny country church out in the middle of nowhere in Plains, Georgia, just outside of Americus. I mean, nowhere. Just a little tiny country church, and you walk up there, and Jimmy Carter teaches you Sunday school. And I went to a Sunday school class.
It's amazing.
I thought it was phenomenal. Still got my Jimmy Carter button. But anyway, happy birthday to Jimmy Carter. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him and his wife. They had a video from like a couple years ago. They made they wanted to just see something in town that was going on. I don't even remember what it was. And they were like in a convertible or whatever. They were aged and looking old, I mean, they are old.
He's been around a minute, man. He's been around a minute.
Yeah, they both have. But then I saw another one. It was sweet, man. They just looked so kind of little in that Suburban, but they still wanted to go out and wave to the people and all. And Yeah, I wasn't alive, or I was barely alive whenever he was the president of the United States, so I can't comment on whether he was good, bad, or indifferent, but I agree with you 100%. His work after his presidency, especially with the Habitat for Humanity and just the genuine good person
Oh, a life well lived.
that
man.
he is, a life well lived, and he gave back so much to Americans and to especially to the people there in his small town in Georgia. I mean, they're proud of him. They should be proud of him. He's he's as good of a man as you can be. So yes, happy birthday to Jimmy Carter. No doubt, man. No doubt. Well, look, we'll wrap it up here. This has been a show just kind of talking a little bit about everything, a therapy session, I guess, if you will, in a sense. I feel better. I had to get some of that LSU stuff out of me. I appreciate you allowing me to do that. I feel a little better that,
I'm glad you feel better, buddy.
I feel better. I feel
I feel pretty dang
get
good
back in
after this weekend. We're operating in two different zones, but good for you. You work through it.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. If this is reversed from this weekend, you'd be doing the same for me.
And it damn well, we may be reversing roles here. It could be. So time will tell. But anyhow, appreciate everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow the show everywhere that you're listening. Leave us a review. Do all of that stuff. Leave some comments on this show on things that we've talked about, things you'd like to see, and all of that good stuff. So with all of that said, we'll see you next week.